welcome back. I've decided to change a couple of things about this YouTube channel or these YouTube videos. I think in hindsight I made the mistake of calling them vlogs. If I'm honest, I didn't really know what vlogging entailed. I kind of just assumed it was a video equivalent of blogging, which I've done in the past quite a lot. But having studied this crazy world of YouTube, I have discovered that vlogging or vloggers is pretty much a full-time gig. People are doing it almost every day, video dining their life, and I'm just not in a position or willing to do that. So I thought long and hard about what I do want these videos to be, and I know for sure that I've always just wanted them to be helpful to people in the tennis world. So I have thought about it quite a lot, and I've decided they're just going to be tips. Yeah, so I want to make sure that they are of value. So the most obvious starting place is to ask what you want some help on. So I put that out on various social media channels last week, and I've had a few questions, and one that has cropped up which is of interest was from a tennis coach called Jonathan Sedgemore, who was asking about something called QVT sessions. Now, if you are not from the UK or you're not from that kind of performancey world, you might not have heard that term before, but in our education system we have a term called QVT training, which stands for quality volume training. It's not rocket science, and Jonathan's asked to have a little bit more information and detail about that. So the first thing to say is that it's pretty straightforward. The quality comes from the attention to detail when you are actually running training sessions. So the typical things that we would refer to would be court positioning, to make sure that at every given moment that the players are both starting, moving to and recovering or repositioning, as I prefer to call it, to the right position. Now, I call it repositioning for geeky reasons. I don't like to use the word recovery too much now. I've used it a million times in the last 26 years, but the reason being that if you talk about recovery to a typical tennis player, they will just go back to where they've come from, whereas to reposition has more of a tactical feel and flavour to it. So if I work with players, I will say, right, they'll work on what they're doing with the ball. They will obviously focus on the impact it's had on the opponent, and then they will reposition accordingly, not just laterally or left to right, but also up and back. And I think that's the most common thing that I see players do poorly, especially if they're playing on these bloody artificial grass or carpet courts. They just kind of stand toe to toe or toe on the baseline, and whether they're attacking, defending, or just in a neutral phase, they stay on the same kind of position. So if we're talking about quality in the training, it would be relating a lot to that, a lot to the little details about when they start, how they move to the ball, how they set up behind the ball, the execution of the shot, the decision of the shot, how aware they are about the impact it's had on the opponent. So those are kind of just some examples of the quality that we want. And to start with, you want to have a performer look, not just physically but also mentally. Does the player look ready and able to perform at their best ability? So that would be the typical things that we would be looking for under the Q. The volume is to just simply make sure that you are not stopping and starting, that the session has a flow, that any kind of intervention is done very, very quickly, like literally on the spot or on the move, or maximum 10 to 30 seconds absolute tops. In my opinion, there's way too many breaks in tennis training, and people have, or kids have now become almost like their water bottle is like a baby's dummy to them. Anytime they get a chance, they grab their bottle, they sit down. I think that there's a lot of time wasted. Rest is important, but not sitting down for like 5 minutes when you've just trained for 5 minutes. So the volume is about keeping everything flowing, making sure it's not too stop and start. And the training is very simple. It's bringing an element of maintaining and developing those skills that players already have. So if you were working on a change, or say a technical change or a new thought process tactically, all that kind of stuff, you wouldn't train that instantly. You would have to get them to what we would call like a consciously competent stage, and then kind of go to it after that. So if you put all those three things together, it's about creating a high quality training environment where there's a lot of repetition, a lot of energy and detail involved in everything that you do. Now, you might be watching this going, yeah, obviously, but believe me, it doesn't happen all of the time. There's too many breaks. There's too much lax kind of on the detail. There's people hitting or starting in the wrong positions, going to the wrong positions after they hit the shots. It's not being brought up. So it's trying to lace your environment with quality and make sure that you bring that training feel and energy and performer kind of state to your court. So Jonathan, I hope that is of interest to you or of benefit. And if any of you have got any questions on anything in tennis, whether it be business of tennis, the tactics, the technique, believe it or not, I do actually talk about technique a lot when I work with players, but I just always contextualize it within a tactical situation. But I can talk technique, so if you want to be any questions on that, then fire them through. So that's how this is going to change. It's going to be, I'm going to release it on a Tuesday. It's going to be Tuesday's tip day, if you want to call it something. So get your questions in, write them below if you want. Like the page, subscribe to the channel, and you will get these tips every single week sent straight to you. Okay, until then, take care. Bye bye.